important that we should now use those mathematical models to predict this. So how do we predict customer behavior? It's a human psychology. It's a human behavior. All of us are customer at certain point, and we behave differently in different scenarios. So this is what the phenomenon on statistic, we'll call it classification. And we'll go in more details about classification and how this pattern will help us to determine customer behavior, right? And several examples will be given. Then we talk about predict or estimate a value, regression. How can we estimate a value? So now, most of the time, our shareholders or our, the sales head, they ask us the number. Tell me what is the number you're going to close in this quarter. Looking for estimating value. Based on what? Just based not on the gut that, okay, I feel like I should be closing $1 million. It doesn't work, right? You should not feel like, you should tell me why you are saying you'll close $1 million. Okay. Do you have pipeline of $5 million? Do you have all qualified custom prospects which has indicated, given you all this qualification, right? So these are the indication and qualifier will help you, and this regression techniques will help us to determine or estimate a value, right? Then we talk about segment of population, clustering. Now, in case of doing some kind of sampling or marketing campaign or launching a product or services, you need to target a population, test the population according to the age, according to the gender, income group or geolocation, and you then model it, then you cluster it, right? This is what we talk about clustering. So that you should not be sprinkling the bullet across the population. It doesn't work. It may work, but it's very cost intensive. So now scientific method is go very, very segmented and do the modeling based on that. And remember, there are several instances given that sometimes Pepsi ran the campaign. They thought that it's going to be globally hit. It worked in US, but in some region, it completely backfired because they had not tested the slogan or their copy, which was completely anti that particular culture of that country. And they did not realize when it went in air, went in media and all that, right? So that is what we are talking about. Each population cluster will behave accordingly, and this will, you have to do modeling based on that. Then we talk about identify factors more associated with a business problem. Attribute importance. Remember, we were discussing in the case study, what is so significant business problem? Sales is going down, right? Now, that is the attribute importance. Sales is going down. The another important attribute is customer returns is going up. Now you have to find out what is the associated attribute importance related with this could be. Sales is down, there must be some root cause for sales going down. There must be some root cause for returns going high, right? So you are attaching significance to this importance. Then find profiles of targeted people or items, like decision trees. So we go in the hierarchy and then you start attaching profiles for that. And then we talk about market baskets or associations. Anybody can think of any good examples of market basket analysis, which I keep talking about more often. Anybody can tell me about that? So that I know it is late evening for you also. I don't want you to, so go on. Anybody can help me with that? Now, you go in shopping most of the time. Either you go to grocery or you go to anywhere else, right? What do you see sometimes? You are asked to purchase, let's say, a tray of eggs. And suddenly you see that, the bread is kept together, and you are given a promotion that if you buy eggs with bread, this is a certain discount. So you 5 rupees saving on that. So your temptation to buy, why not? I would like to have bread, even though there are some bread left in home, but why don't I pick up? So it makes sense to associate what are the likelihood customer will buy, right? So now with that associations, you are promoting your product, which may be expiring in a day. Maybe bread is expiring in a day, or eggs might be expiring in a day, but you wanted to promote with a very, very good package offering, or may not be expiring. Another example, if I go to buy my dress, I'm going to buy my suit. What is likely that I will purchase with suit? If some kind of modeling is done where the shirt nicely with tie and with handkerchief are put together the suit, and if I see the color pattern, the matching, everything is looking so nice with everything together, don't you think that I should be able to buy tie along with it, or hanky along with it, or even all which goes accessory with it, I should be able to buy it if it is packaged and given at a more discounted price. This is a very classic example of market baskets or association rules implemented. Now, I'm not sure how many organizations are doing it, but in my recent experience, they were not doing it. That's what I shared to you, that Lisa came to my meeting and Lisa said that I'm going to lose job. And we started doing this only when we modeled that her sales started slowly going up. And also customer returns started going down because we found out based on hidden pattern coming out of the social sentiments, the hidden pattern coming from other data sources which we analyzed. So understanding the hidden behavior of customers, we found out what can go well. This is what association we used. Make sense? Then we talk about some, yeah, any question, comments? Okay, so I go on. So unless you stop me, I will assume that you are understanding and you can relate with what I'm saying. Now there are different approaches, right? So once you understand that, then our methodology programming will become very easy. And all this will be so easy for business purpose as well. So classification arranges the data into predefined group of classes, e.g. good mails versus spam. Example. Regression. If I'm doing regression, I'm trying to determine exact value, forecasting future price of a stock. There are so many software available for day traders, right? That helps you to, they cannot accurate 100%. But they are giving you tools and technology built on the algorithm of regression that if this is the pattern going, this is where the stock value would be tomorrow. So you can bet on it, right? Then we talk about clustering. Similar to classification, but the groups are not so predetermined or predefined. So the algorithm will try to group similar items together. Healthy versus disease genes. In gene sequencing, what is the thing which you're trying to do? You're trying to evolve the patterns and you basically tease it apart, the gene pairs, and then you identify the traits or characters of that. And in one of the biotech firm, I was taken there to show me that how they do analysis of so many, the gene sequencing patterns evolving and how they analyze based on the clustering. R is heavily used in biotech field for doing all this analysis based on these approaches. And then I talked about already association rule learning, searching for relationship between variables. Now you know the variables. You have bread, you have eggs, you have juice, you have milk. All these are variables can be associated with. So data classification is a two-step process consisting of a learning step which is what we call classification, is constructed. So first you learn, and then you apply classification where model is used to predict class levels for given data. Right? This is typical example of machine learning. First you try to learn, right? So the where the classification model is, so you construct the classification model, and then you put that model into practice to run that, right? And then automatically the data is now driving that. Example I was thinking in my mind, or I see that every day, is Google driverless cars. Now you know that Google has already announced they are giving car which is driverless cars to 500 employees in here, Mountain View, where I live. We're very close to Mountain View, and I see cars are lined up there. What it means, they have been practicing this for last so many years. So what they were doing in the first process, they were creating the model how the car is driven. So a driver is driving the car, and on the driver's seat, the person is recording all the software algorithms, right? So the car is applying the brake, stopping on the red signal, taking the left turn, going by street, and programming is getting constructed, right? So that is step one.
Okay.
Second step is now I'm putting the same algorithm which is constructed into the car and let car run based on the algorithm which has been optimized and modeled. So now the moment I switch on the car, the programming comes into action. And now the programming is telling car to reverse, take this. Now you have said that, okay, I wanted to go to my Oracle headquarters in Redwood Shores. Okay, now programming has already acted upon that from here, based on the GPS, it will go from this location to that location. And the moment any red traffic signal is, you have to slow down. Any vehicle, let's say 30 meters or 50 meters, you have to slow down, right? I'm giving you some example like that. So now programming is acting and car is running on its own, driverless car. So now regression analysis is a statistical methodology that is most often used for numeric prediction. I'll indicate it to you, right? Like sales value projection, stock value projection, all that, right? It's a statistical process estimating the relationship among variables. Many techniques for modeling and analyzing several variables focus on the relationship, right? And that is basically one or more independent variables. So now I'm talking about variables, and we'll be working with a statistical term going forward, right? And I'll define all of them as we go along. Then we are talking about widely used for prediction and forecasting. So regression, correlation, variance, covariance, then classification, all these terms, you will start resonating, right? You will think, oh my God, this is making a lot of sense. Because if I know this, classification I related, these guys must have done a lot of mathematical modeling before launching the Google car on the street, right? It's not that easy. They must have done several iterations of programming. They must have driven that car. And I'll tell you, since last 5 years, I have been watching. Because when I drive to my work, I see Google cars with the rotors on the top and two persons, and they keep driving. And one day I could not stop myself. They were stopped in a site. I stopped myself and I went in there. What you guys are doing? And I started interacting. I said, I'm from Oracle and I wanted to know what you guys are doing. Then he explained to me. And then I said, oh my God, this is such a fascinating thing, right? Now it is coming in more and more and more in any business organization. Okay, so cluster and clustering. Cluster analysis or clustering is the task of grouping a set of objects in such a way that objects in the same group are more similar. Right? So now I'm giving an example of, let's see if you are talking about healthcare. In the healthcare, you can group the people suffering from diabetics, group the people suffering from, let's say, anemia, or suffering from cancer, or suffering from XYZ, right? It's very easy. Now you will be able to cluster them as per variables, right? Age group, gender specific, geo specific, cultural specific, right? So now the whole effort is being made. Can I do something based on that so that the sampling estimation I can do according to the cluster of that? Make sense? Because here in the US, we are going very scientific. The diabetic treatment cannot be used across the board with the same thing, same stick. If Southeast Asian people are coming, their dietary habits are different than Americans. Americans, they don't use so much of carb. They use a lot of proteins. While Asians, like Indians, they eat a lot of carbs, right? They eat a lot of rice, a lot of potatoes, a lot of all that, full of starch. That is the thing which has to be grouped. Mexicans, they are heavily built and they are not able to control their weight. So body mass index. So now the whole campaign is made based on this cluster group of people. And this is what we are talking about. How do we do with certain variables with your initiative which you are driving? I gave only example of diabetics with a lot of variables. Now your service with a lot of variables. You have to cluster it, right? And then accordingly you have to determine what will work, where, and how. And then you can predict that aspect of it. It is a main task of exploratory data mining and common technique for statistical data analysis. Used in many fields: machine learning, pattern recognition, image analysis, information retrieval, and bioinformatics. Image analysis. This is the one thing has intrigued me here recently. Now, when every patient data is getting centralized, now they are making a very conscious attempt to eliminate breast cancer among women. Now, what is the pattern emerging? Because they have been analyzing based on that imaging, and they found out that women age 40 plus and specific ethnic culture or region, they need to be scanned on a regular basis, every 3 months, every 6 months. Because their vulnerability is there, and they are making a campaign through the media, through targeted. They're going very targeted because they do have access to information. So now this is what I have been defining about clustering is data segmentation, which gives you also according to their similarity. And this can also give you outlier detection, right? Now, who can give me one example of outlier detection? Anybody? I will give you a more concrete example. Let's say I live in here in California or in San Francisco, right? What is the average income group of San Francisco? If I'm looking at average population, let's say certain number, and the population has, white collared or the investors or doctors, engineers, and high-end earning people and all that. So on an average, people make $60,000 per annum. Example, right? If I'm doing the mean or average earning here, 60,000, but there is one person also here called Larry Ellison, right? Larry Ellison earning, you know that he is Oracle chairman, and his earning is a multi-million per month, right? So per annum package of his salary, if I put it into the average of San Francisco, what will happen? It will skew the whole average, right?
Yeah.
The same population, same group. So he is the outlier in the population of average earning. So if I remove Larry Ellison, then my average drops down further, right? Automatically, this is what the outlier detection I'm talking about. Who is skewing my cluster? And then I'm talking about the association rule, right? So this, you all understood that. Example I gave you in the last discussion, and people who have just joined, they can relate with, right? So you remember I gave example of Costco. Costco is like Reliance Food Mart, food chain, which is there, right? Visualize that on the shop floor, those people are not so literate, they are not so educated, and they are not so smart to figure out how many products would expire in a day. And especially when you have large perishable item, this is so important. So how are you going to indicate, alert them that these products are going to expire in next 24 hours? So you are a data scientist, you're trying to analyze and get from all the SKUs of the product or the batch and develop the application which should give that expiry. And when it's expiring, you're also doing market basket analysis, right? So that now, what is the option you have? I have got 50 products expiring which should be thrown in the bin in next 24 hours. So as a business owner, I'm worrying that, oh my God, in next 24 hours, this is what I have a loss today because this will be thrown, discarded from my showroom, right? So now you have a choice. Either you get whatever reduced, diminished value of the product and get the maximum possible. This is what you'll do. Even if you cannot do, then you can distribute free, give it away to the social neighboring people. So that at least before it expires and gets thrown in the dustbin, at least whatever social charity you can do that, right? So now two things I mentioned about. One is diminished value. So what you will be doing as a data scientist, you would find out how many products are expiring, build that association rule that before it expires, immediately you take that product out from the shelf, package it together with something, create a special promotion, brand it, and keep it near point of sale. So that people, when they're taking the product out, they should do that. Who will inform the shop floor guy? Your system alert should inform them. This is what I'm talking about, the flow. When you do the analysis, build the algorithm, put it in the system flow, give them alert on their PDAs or on their smart device, so that shop floor manager is getting all alerts and they are telling what to do. They are told what to do. Don't leave it to them that they know that. No. You have to tell them, this is what you have to do. Take this product out, package with this, brand with this, and now display. Right? This is what we literally hand-holded in our retail example of Lisa case. This can be used for cross-selling, upselling, in addition to influencing sales promotion, loyalty programs, store design, discount plans. Very important characteristics, and data is all available for you, right? Because this is what you are playing with data, analyzing on that. Decision tree. This is very classic example again for decision support. It uses tree-like graph, and it is commonly used in operation research, specifically in decision analysis, to help what is most likely to reach a goal. It's a true-false statement, right? So you are basically going by, if this is happening, go further. If not, go back to your loop again. Find out more. How many times you have seen this? And you are not leaving this to your gut again. You are finding true and false statement, and you are putting the variable here. This is, if you meet this, then it is true. If it is not, it is false, right? And this decision tree helps into your decision making.